Hello, and welcome to the Solution Finders. Today I'm here with Anne-Laure Jones. Anne-Laure lives in France and with her sister Pauline took over the family winery and introduced bees, honey production, and agroforestry to the company. Hi, Anne-Laure, how are you?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you. Sitting outside.
Yeah, it's a nice um, old building.
Yeah, it is. It's the back of my office and back of the yeah. So the winery is just here on my left side, and the office in the shop we have is behind me. So yeah,
And it's Château du Puy Faure.
yeah, exactly. Château du Puy Faure. We actually sold in England, in a yeah, in a through a company. So yeah, you can find it in England.
Yeah, I think actually I seen there was an article with the best wines for Christmas, the best
Yeah,
wines.
true. True. Yeah, yeah. Now we're trying to. It's not easy at the moment to sell Bordeaux wine, but we're trying our best. And yeah, and we're as we were saying, we're converting our business to something more sustainable and more eco-friendly. So, and it's a lot of work, but it's very interesting.
Um, Actually, I seen that the story of Château du Puy Fort is like you said, it's in the family for 5 generations.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, yeah. It's a family winery, and my great granddad started it. Um, my father and my brother. I mean, that was my brother who was the winemaker, like till a few years ago, and I started working with him because I was I was a teacher before, you know that. And I started working with him, it was like 10 years ago. And I worked part time, teaching part time at the winery. And he left the company, and my sister, who also was starting working with us, both of us, we've decided to carry on and change a bit as well, the company. But yeah, it's been in the family for 5 generations. So yeah, we have a bit of experience in terms of winemaking.
So actually, were you born? Were you born there?
Yeah,
Were you living there where you were small?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. We were born in a barrel of wine almost. But yeah, and my great grandfather was, you know, at the time they were not just winemakers, but they also had like different sort of. They had cereals, or they had cows, or some people had bees as well. So we want to go back to this because in terms of agriculture, it's much more interesting, because monoculture. So when you just cultivate one type of um,
Crop.
whatever,
Yeah.
yeah, that does it lots of damage on the soil. And we've seen the results of that pretty recently with we've had quite a lot of problems with diseases that were attacking the vines. And we could also, I mean, we could see that the vines were much more fragile. So we decided to change this, and to come back to some sort of um, well, the bees for a start. We're beekeepers, but also we started planting hedges and trees. Um, well, across the parcel, not the parcel, the plots of wines, and we're going to, in a second phase, we're going to plant forests as well, all around the vine plots, because it has a certain effect on the soil and on the vines that will help us produce a better better grapes, nicer grapes, better grapes. And I mean, it's also in terms of for us, it's very important to have an environment that is well, for our children and for the next generation, that will be livable, just livable. That's it, because it's I mean, you're hit as well by the climate change in England, but here we can see it, I think, more aggressively than what you can see in the UK. And yeah, you have to do something about that. And you know, well, farmers are the first people who can do something about this. And yeah, I think we have a responsibility to change that at our little. Well, we only have a few hectares, but we do what we can.
Yeah. And actually, did you stop using weed killers and
Yeah,
products like that?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but we've stopped that for quite a long time now. Not completely, but I mean, for the last 2 years, we don't use it. We haven't used it, and we won't use it anymore. But we've started for a long time having grass in the plots. That means that we don't take the grass out of
Okay.
of the plots, which is much more interesting for the lives, the life under the surface, so the for the warmth, etc., etc. And that helps us as well contain the rain, and yeah, it helps the vines, definitely helps the vines. That was the first step, really, for that we decided quite a long time ago, like maybe it's more like 10 years now, I think. But the last 2 years we have completely stopped using weed killers, and we need to treat some diseases, but we do it the organic way.
So for like to treat these diseases, you use some products or some methods.
Yes, we use different methods. So there is a method that when you use pheromones to it's I don't know the word in English. It's called cicadelle, or there are different types of insects that will really damage the grapes, the leaves, etc. So that will really damage the harvest. And we put some so pheromones. So there is absolutely no pesticides or no whatever killers. It's just these pheromones that will just leave these insects away from the plots. That won't even kill them. Basically, that will just uh,
Yeah, smell bad for them and they don't come in.
and we use as well what's it called, the bouillie bordelaise. So it's a mix of sulphates
Okay.
and so that's the organic way to treat the diseases. So we spray this on the leaves and on the vines, and yeah, to help. And then we have to do that to prevent mildew.
Okay.
So that's the two big treatments we have, the against mildew and against the cicadelle. Yeah.
Nice. And you introduced bees and you are producing honey as well.
Yes.
When did you start it?
When did it start? I think it was 3 years ago now. Yeah, 3 years ago now. And my sister, she's been a beekeeper for more than 20 years now, so she has a very big experience on that. And we started with 2 or 3, and then now we have 15 of them, and we would like to reach 50. How do you say ruche again? I forgot the name.
Beehives? Is it
Oh
bee?
yes, hives. Yeah, beehives. Yeah, and yeah, and the trees we're planting, they are bee friendly in a way that they produce flowers that bees enjoy eating, and and also to do different types of honey, and yeah, so it's a project in itself. Yeah.
Oh, nice. And
Yeah.
actually, how can you like do you kind of follow the bees to see like what tree they go to say like this is I don't know acacia honey or
Yeah, it
whatever.
depends on the season. Basically, you know exactly what they eat because, for example, for acacia honey, this is the only flower at the time
Ah, okay.
that they can have. So, this is in that period of time you're gonna make acacia honey, especially where we are. There are quite a lot of them. And yeah, unfortunately, last year we had a lot of mortality because of the rain. We've had lots of rain last year in 2024, and the harvest. I mean, for the grapes, we were really badly hit by the mildew. Even though we did treat with the diseases, but that was not enough, and we didn't want to overdo it, so we did lose the harvest. And bees as well. We when it rains, bees don't leave the beehive, so they you have to feed them.
Mm.
Uh, and also because it did rain so much that washes out the flower, the nectar in the flower, so
Mhm.
there's no much left to eat for them. So that was a huge issue last year. So we did lose quite a lot of beehives. So this year we're in a sort of we're trying to rebuild our beehives, and we won't produce honey, just to leave them in peace and yeah, rebuild their beehive naturally in a way. Yeah.
Last year. Oh,
Yeah, no, that 24 was terrible. We had rain from November till June, July even. So it was terrible, yeah.
I feel like that's the climate change
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
because and is it getting very very hot like hotter in the summer as well or not really?
Last year, no. But in general, yes, it does. We have very hot summers, um, and we've had hot summers in the last 10 years like we've never had before. We have heat waves after heat waves. It is for us a danger because eventually we won't be able to grow vines the same way, or we'll have to. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen in 20, 30 years from now, but we'll definitely have some big changes in the agriculture here. We might have to change the grape sorts, the cépage, because they won't be able to adapt anymore. And that's why we're planting trees and hedges as well, just to try and slow down that effect. Because the trees will protect the vines from the heat, that will produce some shades and that will protect them from the heat. Also, because we have had so much rain, um, the roots will absorb the water, and we won't have, because the rain is a huge issue for us. And we have another problem as well, which is the frost, and late frost. Like we might this year we didn't have any, and but we regularly have frost in May when the vine is starting to,
To
how do you
grow.
know,
Yeah.
grow, and oh, the buds, the buds are out, and if you have a frost, then it just kills everything. So that will also help that. And which is very interesting for us is that the whole ecosystem that you build with these trees, and hedges. We have lots of bats coming, and insects and little small animals, and this ecosystem will help protect the vines naturally. So we'll use, normally, that's the plan. We'll be able to use far less treatments for the vines. I mean, any chemicals, because that's what we use. I mean, sulphates de cuivre is that's what we use in organic winemaking, but this is not good enough. This is still polluting the soils, and we'd like to use like a fraction of what we're using at the moment, and that will really help us diminish this amount of sulfate, copper sulfate. I don't know.
Most of it, yeah. So like, it's really like a chemical thing. Is it like a liquid you put? Or,
It's it's actually completely natural, but it does pollute the soils because
yeah,
it's not naturally in the soil. It's like a type of powder. It's blue powder, and you mix it with water and you spray it on the vines. Yeah, yeah.
and you have some kind of traditional types of wine of yeah, of grapes from that area. No, you are in Dordogne. That as kind of like Bordeaux red wine and
Yeah, in Bordeaux, we have to use certain grapes. So, and if we don't use them, we can't make Bordeaux wine. Um, so that's another challenge as well, because eventually they will have to change the grapes we use, or that won't be, well, that will not be called Bordeaux wine anymore at all, and there won't be Bordeaux wine. And for 2,000 years now, they've been using the same grapes, and we might have to change. I mean, some people are already changing and they don't produce Bordeaux anymore, but that's a choice. And we're gonna try and plant a few vines as well, just to try and see of vines that are more resistant to diseases, and that adapts much more. I mean, to the climate change we're having at the moment. But here we have to use, for example, Merlot, Merlot grapes, Cabernet, Malbec. This is the three ones we use here at the winery. Um, but yeah, eventually, one day, I'm not sure they will be, you know,
change.
they will die eventually from climate change. Yeah.
So the people who changed took like vines from other regions, and they said, well, maybe this will work now because the climate is changing this way.
Yes, yeah, there's this, and there's also there are quite a lot of scientists who are trying to change some. I mean, they take a Merlot and another type of wines, and they make another vine. Um, so they will adapt to our soil, to our climate, and etc. etc. So it's a hybrid.
Yeah.
Yeah, they that's what's I think the future will be like. Unfortunately, we'll probably have to change all the vine plants here. That is in 50 years or 100 years. Yeah, that's what's gonna happen probably.
And it's something that, like, for example, in England, in
Hmm.
UK, there was no production, and now
Yeah,
there is. No,
exactly.
so it's going north.
Yeah. In Brittany, in France, they are starting making wine as well, which was something that was unthinkable even 5 to 10 years ago, and now they're starting planting vines as well. So, yeah, I think that the more south you are, the more difficult it's going to be. So you will have the climate in 50 years. You will have the climate that we have at or we've had the last 2,000 years.
Wow.
But yeah. Mm-hmm.
And what do you produce? I seen you have vinegar as well. Yeah, so you have the wine.
Yeah, yeah. We produce red wine, rosé wine, claret wine, which is like a mix of the two. It's like a very light red. We produce pet nat. Uh, we produce I think in terms of wine, that's it. Oh, grape juice as well. And we have sparkling grape juice, which is absolutely lovely. And we produce vinegar, and we infuse as well. In our vinegar, we infuse herbs we grow, and so we have like tarragon vinegar, sage vinegar, and we are planning we've started as well our little experiments. We're planning to make a vermouth, um, martini type of wine.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we are.
Actually, I do like vermouth.
So yeah,
The
we
white one, but yeah, you would do the red one, like the more
yes,
the red one.
yes, we'll
Great.
make the red one. And yeah, which is it's like a when you make one, it's like a big kitchen. It's like and yeah, you can make you can infuse as well so many things in wine, and so yeah, it makes it very interesting to do these sort of experiments, and we've that's why I was like, because we were with our enologist, so the person who helps us decide on how to blend our wine, or and we thought we're going to spend an hour with him, but we ended up spending 2 hours. Yeah, and it's like a little, yeah, it's between cooking and chemistry. It's very very interesting.
And is it like how do you produce the wine? Like you get
Okay.
you collect all the grapes and then there's some kind of fermentation, some kind of
Yes, it depends. It varies a lot from the type of wine you want to produce. But for example, from if you want to produce like rosé wine or pet nat, or even grape juice, we harvest the grapes quite early during the day as well. So we wanted the grape that is fresh and not burned by the sun. And we harvest it. We bring it to the winery. We press it directly. We have a big wooden press, and that's it. Then that goes in the winery in big uh, how do you call it again? Inox? Steel? No, not steel. This it's
Yes.
not metal, but it's sort of anyway.
Stainless steel.
Yes, stainless steel. Thank you very much. And yeah, and then we start the fermentation process. So that's for the clear wine, if you want, so the rosé type of wine. And then for the red grapes, for the red wine, because they're all red grapes, for the red wine, we will harvest it, bring it to the winery, mash delicately, actually, the grapes, put them in these big tanks as well, wait for, depending on the wines, depending on the intensity or the color you want, you wait between 2-3 days till 7 to 10 days. So the skin, because the skin brings the color to the wine, so you will have to wait that the skin give that color. And if you want like a light red, you will wait just 2-3 days, and you take just the juice out, and you will start the fermentation after that. If you want like a deep red, you will wait a bit longer and then press it and start the fermentation. So it's a long process, but we take for red wine, we take. The process will take about a year. Between the fermentation and then we call it élevage, and then just 1 year is the bare minimum. It's generally 2 years actually to have a red wine that is ready to drink.
And then is
Yeah.
it always like the older the wine gets, the more value it gets, or is it always like that? Like more value, more years in the bottle, more value?
The older the wine, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, that no, there's depends on the year, on the vintage. Some vintages are very good and can age very well. Others not so much. Also, it depends on where you are, because we're just Bordeaux or Bordeaux Supérieur. But if you have like another appellation like Bordeaux slash Médoc or slash Pomerol or slash Saint-Emilion, then they can, yeah, they have. Their wine is more valuable. And extremely expensive even.
Okay.
It's like having a Christian Dior dress and like a little artisan dress. Like a tailor who would make your dress. That sort of comparison, I would think,
Yeah.
is appropriate. Yeah,
And,
it's
and for the vinegar, is it like the wine is fermented? Is it like the
it's definitely wine. We have to make wine before making
first?
vinegar. So,
Okay.
yeah, and but we've always made vinegar for our own consumption in my family, and we thought, because everyone was saying, "Oh, your vinegar is so good," because we share it with friends and family and stuff, and we thought, wow, yeah, we should produce more vinegar, because people want to buy vinegar, and people yeah, and so we age it in. So we make wine, and then we age it in wine barrels, and we infuse it with herbs. Not always, but yeah, it's very healthy as well to to have vinegar with your food. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and then it's nice to see because at least what I see here in the shops is very clear vinegar that looks like industrial, and then
Yeah.
there's Modena vinegar. balsamic. That's the kind of the only red one I can see
Yeah.
in the shops. So like if seeing yours and that are infused with different herbs, and one can say, okay, I'm going to try that herb, I'm going to try that one. It's nice to have
Yeah.
some variety.
Yeah, because you don't have red wine vinegar in England apart from balsamic vinegar.
Yeah, that's it. That is practically the one that everybody knows
Mm,
because
okay. Okay.
I don't know, it's the famous one.
Yeah. No, yeah. Well, there may be a market in England then. I might have to
Yeah,
look because yeah, I thought you had red wine vinegar like normal for us, normal red wine vinegar, which is probably rare.
that's the thing. When I look for vinegar in the shops,
Yeah.
there's malt vinegar, I think.
Ah, yeah. That's very English. Yeah. Uh huh. That's what they put on fish and chips.
Yeah,
No? Yeah,
yeah,
I think so.
probably.
Yeah. For dressings and stuff, we use red wine vinegar. I mean, dry, not balsamic vinegar. In terms of, I mean, this is not sweet at all. The acidity is quite strong, and yeah, I mean, I should try and find a
Market
market.
to the UK. Bring some, maybe in like in the pubs.
I'm not. It's this very strong red wine vinegar. I don't think you want it on your fish and chips though. It's stronger than malt vinegar in terms of taste and I don't know. We should try it.
Yeah, or maybe restaurants. They have lots of uh, restaurants where everybody wants to go. So
Yeah, huh? Yeah. Well, I will have a look into that.
and I seen that like you traveled around the world as well. You went to festivals.
Yeah, we're trying to sell our wine, but at the moment, I'm more. Um, we're concentrating on the local market and also the European market, but it's a different scale. But the local market, we have a wine shop that is very nice, actually. And we started doing some afterworks evenings, so where people just come and have a drink, and we're making cocktails with our wines as well, just to make it a bit more well fun. And yeah, and plus we're in the middle of, I mean, in the middle of nowhere, not really, but there's not much going on around here, so people are really happy just to, you know, to socialize, to see their family, neighbors, or friends, or bring their friends and have a spend a good time. It's something that is lacking here. You know, this is not the pub culture like in England at all. There is no pub in every village here. It's just you have a cafe sometimes, but not necessarily a nice cafe. You just can, you know, spend some time with your friends or. Um, so yeah, we're trying to also make it like a place to yeah
To socialize.
yeah to socialize exactly yeah. And I think this summer we'll try and have like a regular, like every week or something like this, or twice a week, like a regular thing where people can just come and have a drink.
Now, how long does it take to go there from Bordeaux?
Um, by car, half an hour, and by
Oh.
train as well. We have a train station, which is woo. uh, from here, it's like 4 kilometers away, so which is very handy. But but yeah, the local, and when I say locals, I mean really mean locals, like people from around here. So you know, like the great area, which is yeah, if you around 10 kilometers around here, there's not much going on. So,
It's
so
just like small villages.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, or small, very small cities. And I mean, you can't really call them cities. But even there, because Bordeaux is such like a big city with lots of cultural and whatever activities you can do there, if you want to do something, you have to go to Bordeaux, and which is a bit of a pain because you don't have anything going on at your doorstep. So
It's good that you're organizing.
yeah, and people really appreciate it, appreciate the effort. So that encourages us to do something more, yeah, like a regular thing out of it. And yeah, we're trying to find some markets outside of France, especially Europe, but also we are trying to, because we've gone to Ethiopia recently, and there's a wine culture in Ethiopia. They produce wine actually in Ethiopia, um, and yeah, we've had some interesting contacts. So we're trying to work out if it's gonna work out or not. But that'd be nice to sell our wine in East Africa, and we'll see, because the United States are going to be a bit difficult to also to at the moment. We wanted to try and sell our wine in the States, but I don't know if it's going to be possible anytime soon. Yeah, but England is quite a big market for us.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, Ben has done a few tastings, and it's going to be back in November. I know he's going to do a tasting somewhere in Kent, I think, even.
Okay, cool.
But I
Hear,
will tell.
hear me.
Exactly. But yeah, it's it's not an easy thing to do because we're producers, and we also have to sell our products. It's and when you're a farmer, you have so many things to do um, during the year. I mean, it never stops. It stops a bit in December, January, when you have like a bit of rest, but the rest of the year is just like lots of things going on between the vines and the winery and bottling and taking care of the wine and so yeah, selling it is and you really have um, to spend a lot of time selling it, and which is lacking us a bit. But
Yeah, it's a different
yeah,
job.
exactly, it's a different job, but it's our job as well. So it's
Yeah.
when you're a producer, you sometimes forget that you also have to sell your product because you're really concentrating on the product itself. So it is like the best possible, and but yeah, that's
And is it possible to visit you to see the
oh yeah.
vineyard?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, of course. Um, we, the vineyard is just behind the winery, and yeah, we do wine tasting at the shop. It's a nice, yeah, it's a nice space to. I mean, people do appreciate it, so I suppose.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we will put the link, your links in
Okay.
the description so people can find you,
Yeah.
your website, your social
Yeah.
media.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. People are really, welcome to come and visit us and do wine tasting, and yeah, it's not far from Bordeaux. And there are quite a lot of people who travel from North Europe to South Europe, or just to the Atlantic coast, that stop over, and because we're between different junctions in terms of motorway and so it's like a few kilometers away. So it's very handy for people who want to stop by, and we have lots of people from Denmark or Holland or Germany or England as well. Who yeah.
Nice. Um, and you were living in Bordeaux and in London as well. And
Yeah.
how is the change, like living in countryside now?
The change is that I can see green all the time because I had really that I was not bored, but I couldn't take the concrete and the lack of nature anymore. I have to say it's it really. And working part time made me realize that I was feeling much better in the countryside and in the middle of this nature than in this in the city that really I just don't want to live in the city anymore. That's I think I'm done with it's not that I don't like the city, because I enjoy going to the cinema or whatever if I can. It's just that living in a city that is not for me anymore. It's yeah I much prefer the countryside.
Yeah,
And the pace as well is
the different pace.
is
It's
yeah
slow.
yeah exactly. It's for my health is much nicer.
Yeah, nice. Nice. There's less pollution as well.
Oh yes, yeah. Less noise, less pollution, more green everywhere. And you have to also you kind of you see the seasons, you taste the fruits, you I don't know, you see the different flowers, you smell the different types of flowers during the season. I mean, it's a different experience.
Is it like, are you closer to your family as well? Is there like
Yeah, we live in two big houses. My mom and my sister and my husband Ben and I, and we for it's temporary that we live there, but eventually we'll live a few kilometers away from here, not far.
yeah, yeah, always have to work
Yeah, because
by
it's
near than being
you
near.
have to be around here all the time. So there's so many things to do. You can't just and we can't just take vacations, for example, when we want to. I mean, holidays when we want to. It's it's a different type of life, being a farmer, being a wine maker, wine grower. Very different lifestyle.
Yeah, you are attached to the vine.
Yes, yeah. We can't just leave them alone very long. So
And how is it like the culture of wine? Like, is it for you, for example, or for like people around that area? Like, is it really like you drink a little bit every day with your meals? Is it
yeah,
something?
yeah. No, it's not. It's cultural. Absolutely, it's cultural. We have generally, a drink or well, a glass of wine or two during lunch or dinner. But it's something to do with our culture. We don't drink to be drunk here. We just drink to to go with the food, and you choose the wine. This is true. I mean, this is not being snobbish or anything. This is you're gonna have, I don't know, a piece of I don't know, a quiche. You will have some sort of wine, and then a certain type of vegetables or meat or fish or whatever, and you will absolutely, yes, we are a bit picky with that. But it's I don't know. It's in so strong in our culture that's not going to stop any time soon, I think. Yeah, people really enjoy sharing a glass of white wine with asparagus or fish, and red wine with I don't know, a nice bit of pate or barbecued steak, or
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
yeah. And people do take time for lunch. It's a bit like in Italy, I suppose. It's we do have lunch. We have lunch. We spend an hour sitting and talking, and it's dinner as well. Same. So it's very important for us. Meal times, and yeah. So culturally, people drink. Not much, but they drink regularly.
Yeah,
White.
yeah.
It, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, and I've seen it in Italy as well. It's yeah, normally well, having children as well, that's all the thing that like you cannot drink when you're pregnant and things like that.
Yeah, yeah, of course, yeah.
So like I almost don't buy any wine. Like for years I didn't buy any,
Yeah.
but I really enjoy like when I see the family in Italy. And there's always someone who maybe they have like a very small plot, but they do produce their own
Yeah,
wine. So they
exactly.
get
Yeah.
that bottle without label, and there's some kind of nice yeah, red with meat
Mm-hmm.
normally, and they do their liqueur as well. They do the
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Grappa.
homemade. Yeah, actually, my family from Sardinia, they do mirt
Ah.
because they
Oh,
have those plants
yeah. Yeah.
around. They are everywhere.
Yeah. 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 It's the same here. I mean, we've always made some sort of aperitif wine with the local fruits, or infused in wine and with some sugar, and with you always had, every single family had this sort of aperitif, and it's like a pride, like, oh, you're gonna try my orange wine or my peach wine or my fig wine or my whatever wine.
Oh,
And,
nice.
yeah. It's a tradition, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah, and it's really the old style because it takes time to make this
Oh yeah,
homemade
yeah.
infused wines or liqueurs and
Uh-huh. And when my parents-in-law, my father-in-law especially, come to visit, they always sort of blown away by the tradition still. The culturally, we do stick to our, yeah, to well, cooking, and it takes a long time preparing food. We don't buy, in France. It's difficult to well, we don't buy vegetable ready made to cook. You have to peel it, or you have to prepare the vegetables, etc., etc. And my father-in-law is always so, oh my god, life is so different. It's like, for him, it's like being in a movie. It's really funny, and he's always so, yeah, enthusiast, and yeah, amazed that it still exists. It's
yes,
it's very funny because for us it's completely natural, and sometimes I even have the feeling that he's making fun of us, but no, it's like because he's so amazed that people still live that way, like in a movie for him.
yeah, yeah, but maybe we will go back to these things more, maybe. But
I
yeah,
don't. Yeah,
we have to change all the system because like if someone, for example, works in London and they have a 30 minutes break, they
yeah.
go and get that sandwich that is in the plastic thing.
Um,
Uh,
no, we don't have that in France. We don't have pack lunch. We don't. Well, pack lunch we do. We don't have sandwich for lunch.
yeah,
Very, very rarely. Very rarely. So yeah,
Yeah,
that happened.
I discovered the sandwich with crisps in the British pack lunch. I was, what are these crisps doing?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I discovered a lot of things in England that I thought, in terms of lunch and eating, people were thinking I was really a snob, like very posh, when I brought my pack lunch at work because I had some cooked meals for pack lunch, and people were like, "Oh, wow." Well, that is, I eat. Like, this is something I have to do. So I cook.
I cook, you cook.
Yeah, well, of course. Yeah, but this is, I don't know if it changed a bit in England. There was quite a few years ago now, but yeah, so it's traditionally, we take our time to grow vegetables, to cook and eat and drink. And yeah, it's, yeah.
Oh, nice, very nice. And now, do you have projects for the future for
For the near future,
yeah?
and for the near future is our little ganguette. So we would like to bring more people in our little winery. um, this develop this vermouth and plant this forest, bee friendly forest that will be planted in, well, normally this winter, and yeah, the agroforestry project is on its, it's well on its way, and hopefully in 3 to 5 years time we'll see the first effects on our vines. So yeah, so that's for us, it's our priority, really. I mean, at the moment, and that will help us make better wine, in the sense that we will, yeah, environmentally friendly wine. That's what we want to do. Like, always try to do our maximum, our best to respect that nature we love so much, really. I mean, yeah.
Nice.
So
I think that you put some pictures in social medias with a horse,
yeah, yeah, we are experimenting this on a plot, uh, because we know for a fact that the horse will have less impact than a tractor, because a tractor will compact the soil, and we're experimenting this on a young vine, especially because the soil has not been too compacted, so we will see the effects quite quickly. And we've never tried that sort of technique before, so we wanted to try this. And this is with a neighbor friend of ours who has these big horses and who does that as a job. And so we'll see, and if we're happy about that, and we will try and do the, more plots eventually. That'd be good. And yeah, and this is also nice to have a horse working in the vines. It's just different for us, so this is really cool.
yeah, nice. And it's like going back to ancient modern.
Oh yeah, ancient cultures, ancient methods, ancient techniques. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We're trying to stop this intensive agriculture. Our parents, and well, our parents, really, my grandparents, they were in the middle, but our parents developed, and that didn't do much good to the cultures and to the quality of the products in the end as well, and to the soil and to the. So yeah, we have to go back to these ancient methods to, well, if we want to last a bit longer in terms of humanity, we have to start protecting our environment. So
And do you see the same around you, or is it a lot of intensive still?
it's a mix of both. Some people don't realize, but more and more winemakers, in terms of winemakers especially, more and more winemakers do take this into account and change their methods. But it's slow. It's a slow process, and hopefully we'll have more and more people really embracing this sort of methods, because our future depends on the way we cultivate our soil, so we'll see. But I'm always optimistic, so we're gonna stay optimistic.
Yeah.
That people
Yeah, no, I think it's great. Well, what you're doing, and yeah, just great.
yeah, well, come and visit, and
Yeah,
we are open to people who want to see what it's like.
yeah, I will.
Well, yeah, thank you anyway for letting us talk about this.
Yeah, no, it's a
Uh,
pleasure. Yeah, and yeah, it's good. It's good to get to know these methods you're using, and to let other people know.
yeah, and I think everybody can do it. I mean, if you have a garden, if you live in a city where there are some shared gardens and things like that, you can do something at your own scale. It's not just farmers who can act on this. I think it's a general thing, not just professionals who
Yeah,
can do something about it.
yeah. Thank you very much for this conversation. It was wonderful, and thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much too. Thank you. And hopefully, if you're around, and or if your viewers are around, and if they want to do a tour, then
Yeah,
you're welcome to come. Voilà.
you will come for a tour. Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you for watching or listening to the Solution Finders. Please like, subscribe, and share so we can inform and inspire more people. If you would like to donate to the podcast, the link is in the description below. All donations go towards paying for software, video editing, and production work. Please visit unamarz.com, unamarz.com, for one-to-one sessions with me to reprogram your subconscious mind, for my original origami art and printed products like t-shirts and stationery, for more info about this podcast. If you've made it till this point, please add your favorite emoji in the comments. Have a wonderful day.